Panel, I'm sure you can't read it, but it says, "Ah, this can't be," and the voice from upstairs, her teenage son is saying, "No, no, no," and then the mom says, "I think Jeremy just found your Facebook page," and the dad says, "Should I ask him to be my friend?" So if you don't get that joke, maybe hopefully you will by the end of the workshop. But I wanted to let you know some of, if you flip your notes over to the back side on the very bottom right corner, just for further references, after this is done, I wanted to let you know that most of the statistical information and the quotes from this workshop come from this book right here called Totally Wired, What Teens and Tweens Are Really Doing Online, a lady by the name of Anastasia. She is part of a web site called Web Pulse, or Y-Pulse, that a lot of our major stores go to find out about teen culture. If you're looking for extra chairs, they're in these extra rooms off to the side, right up here. So a lot of our statistics, and this book and Anastasia have been all over television and networks lately. A lot of people getting their sources from this book. And this book has information in it. This is the latest scientific data that I could find. You can find surveys anywhere, but scientific statistics are a little bit different. So my data, a lot of what I'm pulling from, is really a year old, which in internet time is like ages. But if I try, this is the latest scientific data that I could get, so it's the most accurate that we could have for tonight. But I wanted to also give props to my good friend Tim Schmoyer, who first inspired me to do this workshop, and he actually did a workshop like this online. He's a youth pastor, blogger friend of mine, and he did a similar workshop at his church and broadcast it online. He actually broadcasted it live, giving me a lot of the resources to do this tonight. And just so you know up front, we're going to try to plow through this, and if you have any questions, probably the best thing to do would be try to wait towards the end. If there's something that you see that you know you're going to forget or won't apply later, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll try to answer it. But we're going to try to do most of the questions at the end. And also I wanted to let you know that this is being filmed. So we've had requests because there's people in other classes tonight or down in council meeting and different places couldn't make it. So we're going to try, and I'm going to try to talk loud, and hopefully the camera will pick me up. And we're going to put this online. So if you have any questions that you don't want the online world to know about, maybe just let me know before you ask, and we'll turn off the camera, and so you know it doesn't have to go out. Because once something is online, it's there forever. What were you going to say?
Yeah. You could write it down if they don't want to forget.
Oh, write down your question if you don't want to forget. Very good. Yes. And you can see some of my other resources down there. There's some videos online that you can check out later. And a lot of this is just from my personal experience. You know, I probably should start this by saying, "Hi, my name is Shawn. I'm an internet junkie," you know, and go from there. I spend a lot of time. I spend a lot of time on a lot of these sites, and part of it is it's a part of the youth culture. That's why I'm there. So let's begin. Social networking sites is a lot of what we'll be talking about tonight, and these are the sites that you see on the logos of when you're looking at your notes here: Facebook, MySpace, YouTube, all of those. And just to give you a definition up front, the point of social networking sites is to make a profile of yourself online, usually for the purpose of connecting with others. Most social networking sites are free, so you know teenagers love that. You know, they can go there and they can make basically a free website. And the other part is they can put their personal content on there. And who doesn't? You know, what teenager doesn't love to share their stuff? So that's kind of what we're talking about when we're talking about social networking sites. It's a place where teens and adults, but especially teen culture, they love to hang out on these sites that we call social networking sites. Before we go too much further, In the promotion of this, you might have heard, and maybe in your conversations, you might have heard the term Web 2.0. Well, what is Web 2.0? I want to give you just a quick snapshot of kind of what social networking is all about, and kind of help define what Web 2.0 is. Before I get into the definition, though, I'm gonna show you this video, which is going to be too small. I grabbed it off of YouTube. When you grab content offline, if you blow it up and make it big and try to fill a screen like this, it would just be all pixeled. So it's going to be small in here, but I'll try to do my best and read it for you as it goes. Okay. Text is linear, unlinear, often said to be, when written on paper. Digital text is different, more flexible, movable. Above all, hypertext is above all, can link. Here and here and here or here, virtually anywhere. Anywhere virtual. Most early websites were written in HTML. HTML was designed to define the structure of a web document. P is a structural element referring to paragraph. LI is a structural element referring to list item. As HTML expanded, more elements were added, including stylistic elements like B for bold, I for italics. Such elements defined how content would be formatted. The other words, form and content, became inseparable. Digital text can do better. Form and content can be separated. XML was designed to do just that. Title does not define the form, it defines the content. Same with link and description. And virtually all other elements in this document that describe the content, not the form, so the data can be exported free of formatting constrictions. So many websites are made up of XML, which is made up of content from several different sources, like what you're seeing now. With form separated from content, users did not need to know complicated code to create their own websites. Here's somebody's making a blog. Choose a template, your blog has been created. Hello world. There's a blog born every half second, and it's not just text. YouTube, which deals with video. Flickr, which deals with pictures. XML facilitates automated data exchange. Two sites can match data together. Flickr Maps, showing people's pictures all over the world. Who will organize all of this data? Google. Tags. We will. You will. XML, you and me, create a database-backed web. And a database-backed web is different. We are the web. When we post and then tag pictures, we are teaching the machine. Each time we forge a link, we teach an idea. Think of the 100 billion times per day humans click on a web page. Teaching the machine. The machine is us. Is using us. The machine is us. Digital text is no longer just linking information. Hypertext, the web. The web is linking people. Web 2.0 is linking people. People sharing, trading, and collaborating. Wikipedia. We'll need to rethink a few things. Copyright, authorship, identity, ethics, aesthetics, rhetorics, governance, privacy, commerce, love, family, ourselves. Okay, let me give you a definition. The phrase Web 2.0 hints at an improved form of the World Wide Web. Technologies such as weblogs, which we'll talk about later. Social bookmarking. If you're familiar with bookmarking, it's when you see a website that you like and you bookmark it or favorite it so you can go back to it. Many there's social networking sites that basically share your bookmarks with other people. That's what they're talking about there. Wikis. Some of you have probably heard the term Wikipedia. It's become very, very, very popular. In fact, it's probably the most used online encyclopedia. And it's not really an encyclopedia. What it is it's users defining an item. If you look up dinosaurs on Wikipedia, I could go on and type my definition of dinosaur, and then Janessa could go on and type her definition of dinosaur, and it keeps on getting edited and changed. And it's really funny to watch if there are students turning in papers sourcing Wikipedia as their source. So not everybody understands what a wiki is or what Wikipedia is, but really it's shared knowledge, which isn't always the best. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. Podcasts, we'll talk a little bit about that. RSS feeds, which is basically like an email service only through your web browser. Social software and web application programming interfaces provide enhancements over the read-only websites. In other words, very simply, Web 2.0 is very interactive. It's interaction. It's websites with people interacting with each other. As you can see, it's all about hypertext, hyperlinking, linking to other sites, linking to other information. So, most teenagers are considered online contributors of content, such as text. They write, you'll see teenagers many times writing blogs on their MySpace accounts. And we're going to go to some of these sites a little bit later in the workshop, but they'll write their personal thoughts. They're basically their journals, right on their social networking profiles. They write comments on their profiles, and they'll comment back and forth to each other for all the world to see. And then there's also private messages. So there's text, there's video on sites like YouTube, which we'll visit later. There's audio. If a teenager is musically inclined at all, you can bet that their music is probably on MySpace or a similar place, or they're podcasting it. And then there's pictures. Most social networking sites, like MySpace, Facebook, Bebo, all of them, they have a place where you can upload your pictures, create photo albums to share. So a lot of pictures. And here's this what might be scary to some of us. Teens are interested in it because of the interactive features, and it is also drop dead easy to them. Maybe not to us, but to them. It's a click and a push of a button. You know, it's ABCs. You know, it's 1, 2, 3s. It's easy. They grew up using the computer and the internet. So let me just give you a few quick stats on teen usage of the internet. 66% of teens with a profile, talking about on a social network site, restrict access to their profile, which is a smart thing to do. What does that mean? It means instead of a nobody, allowing a nobody to come to their profile and look at all of their information, all it does is maybe show a picture, their name, you know, just some information that you wouldn't mind being public. It's restricted, and that's an important thing. We'll probably come back to, but that's a smart thing to restrict access to the profile. 45%. This is an interesting statistic. Publish false information to that profile. Many times. Students that are on social networking sites will change their age around. They'll even post pictures that are not of them. They'll create false profiles. a lot of times you'll see students on the age where it says age, they'll be 99. And part of that is because there are MySpace. I think you need to be 13 or older, something like that, to create a profile. Well, it's pretty easy to just lie about that and you know, put up whatever age you want to do on that. In fact, we had a student talking about this last Wednesday night at it wasn't a serious you know, like tears crying confession, but he was just saying that as a matter of factly, you know, that yeah, I do that. And so we all challenged him publicly to go change the information he did. Only 10% of teens share both their first and last name online, which is very, very good. You don't want to give away too much. Just like you wouldn't you wouldn't you know, give your name away and your private information just to anybody on the street, because anything you put online is there pretty much forever. People can take a snapshot of it, people can record it, paste it, put it in Word, and it's just recorded. Anything pretty much online, if you put it there, there's a good chance that it'll be there for a long, long time, even if you delete it just days later, because there's such a thing, I don't know if you knew about this, but as a web archiving, that I can go back to my website that I created in 1995 and type in the date, and it'll show me what my web page looked like back in 1995. Kind of a scary thing, but you can do it. 32% have been contacted online by someone unknown to them or their friends. Now this isn't just talking about social networking sites, this is just talking about teens that are online. 32%. 43% of students who use a social networking site have been contacted online. So the statistic goes up just about 10%. And I want to say here that lots of people are worried about victimization online, and it's a big media kind of buzz thing, and you hear stories about it a lot. But really, and we'll get to this in just a second with the misconceptions, but it's not as big of a problem as maybe the media would like to portray it as, and I'll give you some reasons in just a second. But many of you are familiar, if you have an email account, with spam and how much of it you get. That's the kind of contact you know they're getting on social networking sites a lot of times. Now, social networking sites are kind of redefining the term friendship in this day and age, because you can become a friend with somebody on a social networking site, and what a lot of students do, somebody will click on their MySpace or their Facebook, and they'll get a message that says, you know, hey, I want to be your friend. And maybe it's somebody that they've never met, they have no clue who this person is, but it's a pretty common practice to just blindly accept them as a friend, and just to allow them into, why? Does anybody know why? Why would anybody do that? Maybe there's some of you here that do that.
Just so they have more friends?
So they have 355 friends when people visit their MySpace, and they're really popular, you know. I did this. I used to do this. I used to do this with my MySpace account, and I ended up with like 450, you know, friends. And probably about a year ago, I said enough with this, and I went through and deleted everyone I didn't know, which I would recommend to you and to your students. You know, don't just blindly accept anybody as your friend, because that's what's happening. The people, especially on these sites, and again, it's a very common practice, will just blindly accept someone into their network, and you know, just because they want to up their friends' numbers, which is on public display, by the way. Of the 32% who were contacted, just online again, of the 32% that were contacted, 65% of the teenagers ignored or deleted it, 21% said they followed up, 8% wrote back and asked to be left alone, and 3% actually informed an adult. One thing, if you're talking with your student about, you know, strangers online, they need to know, you know, the correct action to take. Probably the number one thing is probably You know, if it's just somebody like that is a blind friend request, what they should do is just deny it and just, you know, drop it. But if it's something that's, you know, a little sketchy, they should tell you, and you should inform them of that. And it's okay. Like you see on here, 65% just reject it, which most of them, you know, are smart enough to do that. But again, a lot of them, it's common practice to just blindly accept. 21% said they followed up. That's not good. 8% wrote back and asked to be left alone. I don't know. I would just, if it was my student or family or my daughter, I would prefer to be the one, if you know, making the contact instead of them. So I would just, you know who your friends are. Less than 25% say the contact made them feel uncomfortable or scared. That's 7% of all online teens. So, in other words, they're pretty comfortable and used to spam. They're comfortable with people that they don't know contacting them, and most of the time they're either comfortable one way or the other. They're either comfortable with accepting them as a friend, or they're comfortable with rejecting them, which is probably the smarter thing to do. And then these social networking sites, there's kind of a balance that is hard to run for some teenagers, because they're created to network with people that they know, but they also want to find the people, you know, maybe that, like when I created my profile, it was cool to connect with people from my high school graduating class, and I've connected with a lot of those from back there. Now, same thing, they want people to be able to find them, but you don't want people that you don't want to find you. So there's that delicate balance that's there, and that's there with all of the sites. So let's go on to some misconceptions, and this is the one I was talking about earlier. Misconception: posting personal information puts you at great risk for victimization. I italicized that up here. This is, it's kind of overblown, and I saw this over and over and over again when I was researching this. You know, the students, anytime you see this in media, it's like students are the preyed upon, and anytime an adult's on any social networking site talking to a teenager, they're always predators. So let me just read you a couple stats that I came across. Amanda Lenhart, she's with the Pew Internet Research, part of the Y Pulse team. The fact that the media covers these types of things in great detail creates the sense in the population that this is a real problem happening all the time, when in fact it's not actually accurate. Another one, Dana Boyd from a different team: the choice to perpetually report on the possibility of rare occurrence or kidnapping, stalking, violence because of internet sociability is not a neutral position. It is a position of power that the media chooses to take because it's a story that sells. There's something innately human about rubbernecking, looking out for fears, manipulating the public, and magnifying the culture of fear. It sells horror films and it sells newspapers. So, I guess the point is the sites aren't nearly as dangerous as media would have you think. It's important to be careful and cautious. But the internet is a media tool just like anything else, like television and movies and music and any other type of media you come across. Victims, most of the time, especially if they're teenagers, they're not deceived. They know exactly what's going on. And victims are the ones that end up, you know, you actually hear about, you know, going to the house with the guy that they met online. Those kind of victims are usually the ones that were looking for that kind of trouble in the first place, you know, in an offline, real world. One thing about social networking sites that is probably important to know and is becoming part of our culture is employers use it as a tool. Colleges and potential employers check profiles, and in fact, the percentage, 75%, use the web as part of the screening process, and this last one, 25%, said they eliminated candidates based on the information that they found online. Now, if you think about it, again, remember that anything you put online can stay there even after it's been deleted. And you think about some of the MySpace profiles maybe you visited before, or if you're not familiar, you know, some of the students put some pretty crazy stuff on there. And And if an employer or even a college goes and looks up, or if they just go to Google and or a search engine and type in your student's name, what are they going to pull up? In fact, if you haven't done that, I suggest you do it and just find out, what's been posted online and what people, especially employers and colleges, can find out about your student. And maybe while you're doing it, check out you too. Cyberbullying is becoming a little bit of it's an increasing problem. 42% of 4th and 8th through 8th graders have been bullied online, which tells you that how many of them are online. 58% of them haven't told their parents. Why do you think not?
They couldn't use the internet.
Because they don't want to lose their internet privileges. Yes. Girls are more active in online bullying than boys. It's a way of establishing status at school. And often kids who are bullying are the ones who are being bullied by an adult somewhere else. Let me give you just some examples of how this can happen. 2 girlfriends have a bunch of pictures on their cell phones, which is another form of social networking that teenagers are way into. They have a bunch of pictures of each other on their cell phones. The relationship goes sour. Well, guess what? I've got a bunch of pics. Some of them aren't too pretty of my best friend over there that I can paste on my MySpace and spread over the internet, I mean, as quickly as the click of a button. And another scenario, text messaging. Most of you are probably familiar with that. A lot of you probably have cell phones and you do it yourself. Just sending a text message over your cell phone. A lot of times in most schools, even here in town, this is, they can't text, they're not supposed to text, I should say, during class. A lot of them still do. They have it, they know how to do it without even looking at it, they're so good. And you can have a conversation going on about somebody sitting in the front row between 2 people in the back row, and they're saying bad things about that person that this person doesn't even know about. And that happens. Another example. Best friends, they show passwords to each other on their Facebook accounts. Again, the relationship goes sour. I can do anything I want and make the person, if I have their password, I can sign on to their account and just go crazy and make them look like crazy people. Then that's sadly kind of a common thing. Don't let your students share passwords, share information to that kind of thing. I'll get to that later. Home life, of course, makes a huge impact on what happens online. But again, the knee-jerk reaction a lot of times is for us parents to blame it on the internet. Internet is actually, again, more of a tool that they use to just express themselves. It's another way. 3 different things that cause risky behavior online. Abuse. And not just physical abuse, but verbal abuse, absent parents, abandonment, stuff that makes home not seem like a safe place, so they go online because it feels safer. Pressure. Pressure from parents on grades, getting into a good college to succeed, longing for freedoms that they can't get in other places, so they go online and it feels free. Freedoms that they can't get at home. And again, workaholism. The online networks and places they can hang out just feel like a safe place to them. Let me give you just a list real quickly of some top websites for young men and women. Look at this one, 17 to 25 years old. This data again is from the very last quarter of 2006, the last scientific data that we have. You can see Facebook is the #1 visited site by young ladies, 17 to 25 years old. MySpace is directly behind it. And you see how much more they use it than Google, which kind of speaks, I mean, Google you use to search for anything else on the internet, anywhere else. I mean, that's kind of the starting place for a lot of us when we go online. Facebook and MySpace are kind of the websites, they're like the ones that they pop open their browser and that's their home page, that's where they're at. They're always signed in. That's where they're at. Goes down Yahoo, just kind of an internet portal, a lot of you do email through there. YouTube, which we'll talk about later. It's a video networking site. iTunes, where they get their music. MSN, another portal. Flickr is all about pictures. eBay is all about shopping. And eBaum's World, which is kind of like another place for funny videos. Guys, the #1 site, again, Facebook. The second for them is Google. And you'll see MySpace is down there, about 5th or 6th for them. You've got on theirs, they've got the sports sites, ESPN and NFL. Wikipedia is on there for them. That's where they go, I guess, to write their research papers. I've caught my daughter using Wikipedia, and she didn't know. You know, you Google for some information. A lot of times Wikipedia is one of the first ones that comes up because, again, it's a social networking site, so it's got more hits than some of the other sites that you're looking for information. College Humor, it's another place to go for funny content. An Amazon shopping site. Okay, well, let's go to some of these sites, and you can kind of go along with me. I wanted to say MySpace in this region is still kind of beating out Facebook, I would say, especially probably in the life of the students here at Destiny, but I would say probably in this region. Part of what's happening though is MySpace is losing hundreds and probably thousands of students, especially this younger generation right now, and they're flocking to Facebook because it feels for many of them like it's been saturated by marketing. It feels like spam, it's just been spammed out. I don't know if you've been there, it's definitely dominated by advertising. So migration has largely been moving to Facebook, which is a little bit cleaner in that regard. So I'm going to start with Facebook. If you want to, if you guys that are online want to surf with me. And I'm sorry for the size of what you'll be seeing up here, but this is the biggest screen we could find over here, and this is as big as I can make it on this TV. So I'll just try to take you with me. I'm signing into I just went to facebook.com and signed in with my profile, my email address, and my password. And this is what you call the main page of Facebook. It's an overview of kind of what all my friends are doing. And as you can see, Ken Verhickey, some of you know him, just wrote on my wall. He says, and he's over there, if you didn't know, he's over there with the youth right now. And this is probably the only guy I know that's probably more connected than me. He carries around a phone, and he just texts this message from over there in the youth room. And this went directly to my Facebook account through his phone. He says, "How's it going? The youth is moving along smoothly, so you can all relax." And this page, kind of what it does, it just gives me an update of what all my friends are doing this week. Jordan Cook left a group that he was involved with online here. Some of you are praying that you're not on this list. Jordan Cook was again tagged in an album, and Jordan Cook was active today. Jordan Cook left another group. JJ Cretin, I don't know how to say her last name, added the testimonials application. JD Bowman. So it just kind of shows you on this one page, right when you sign in, kind of what's happening. Tim Schmoyer, he's the guy that did the internet workshop. Him and Bill Britton are now friends. They found each other using the Friend Finder, which is kind of, again, what social networking is all about. Tyson Lambertson, he's going to be at the men's retreat from Nebraska. He's going to be speaking there. He wrote on my wall. Okay, what does writing on my wall mean? Basically, writing the message, the wording that they use on Facebook, writing on your wall is Ken. When it says that, Ken left me a message, which when he sent me that message, if I go to my profile now, Ken's message will be on my profile, which is what my friends will see if they visit my Facebook. The writing's on the wall. Let's see if I can connect. We've got so many laptops in here, it's probably going a little slow. Okay, there's me. And I'm thinking very hard. But you can see, let's go down and see Ken writing on my wall. There's Ken's post right there. You can see his face maybe, hopefully. and it says, how's it going? Youth is moving along smoothly. And again, he did that from his cell phone. But let me just give you just a quick kind of little tour. Facebook, MySpace, a lot of similar things. Another reason that Facebook is probably gaining more popularity and is grabbing some of the students from MySpace is that they've held their interest a little bit longer. Facebook has applications that you can add, and I mean just by the thousands. They've allowed third-party creators to create tools that you can use, fun things like I have an application on here, where I can share my movie reviews. And I've seen a movie and I'll say 5 stars, or just don't watch it. And if you look on here, Jordan Cook and I are best friends when it comes to movies. Now this Alicia girl that I met through Ken Verhickey, we're a terrible match. We would never go to the movies together. So I mean, just fun things like that. But also, of course, what I was telling you about, I have many of my pictures on here. I've got my family Christmas time pictures. I've got the Elevate Student Christmas Party on here. Slideshows. I've got movies on here, both from youth ministry and my family. If you go up onto the top, though, you'll see my picture. Just it says actually what I'm doing right now. It says Shawn Michael Shoup is excited about the Teen Internet Workshop. Now, if I wanted to update that, I just click on this, and as soon as I type this in, all my friends that visit the Facebook will know exactly what I'm doing right now. Shawn is teaching the Teen Internet Workshop. So if somebody signs in right now, it says updated just a moment ago. They will see that on their main page when they sign in, and they'll know what I'm doing. Again, it's just a way of kind of finding out what your friends are doing online. Gives me some information. And you can supply as much or as little as information as you want on here. Political views, religious views, your birthday. Some of you wouldn't post that on here. Hometown. And what it does is it connects you with people that are in the same networks as you. I've connected with some of my friends back from high school that I would have never connected with otherwise. I've connected with people, even from Falkland, my birth town. I list my websites on here, my activities, favorite music, TV shows, books. And over here, you can see I have 63 friends. I know every single one of them personally. I didn't blindly accept any of these on Facebook. You can see some of my education and work stuff here. And again, it's another great tool if you want to network, if students want to network also, with people from work. If you want to network from people from past colleges, this is the place to go. In fact, Facebook was designed from the grounds up as a tool for networking college students. I mean, that's what it started as, and it's grown to be the #1 website visited by student culture. Notes, as you can see here, notes are what Facebook calls blogging. I'll get to that a little bit later. I'm trying not to confuse you and go through this too fast, but you can post anything. You can post YouTube clips, video clips, links to other websites. All of it can be on here. All of it, anything that you post on here. My favorite causes that I can share, and I can try to recruit my friends to the causes and to raise money for different causes. These on the right side are all my friends' comments that they've written on my wall. So that's kind of a look at what the Facebook profile looks like. And really, if you go to the other sites, let's just go over to, well, let me make sure I don't miss anything first of all. One neat thing that Facebook does also is groups. I created a group for Elevate Student Ministries right here. I've also created one for the Destiny Foursquare Church. And these are some of the groups on the right side that I'm plugged into. Christ for the Nations, my home school, Foursquare Next Gen Summit, Heart Call Cafe, which is Ken's group. We have 18 members of Destiny Foursquare Church, and a smaller, we have eight members of Elevate Student Ministries. And I promoted this event on these groups, and any kind of event or party you're going to. You can say, hey, I'm going to this, are you going? And you can RSVP and communicate with each other that way. On the left side is our groups that my friends are involved in it, and it shows me what groups that they're connected with. Another thing that has become popular with Facebook has been tagging. If I or anybody else goes online and posts pictures, let's see here. Let's go back to my profile or my photos. And say Dave is on Facebook, and I post a picture of Dave on my Facebook. If I tag Dave, it's going to show up on his profile. And see, you can see these pictures here. I posted from the Transformed Youth Convention. My wedding pictures. Camp Awakening. And what happens to, say, you know, Amy has a Facebook and she uploads a picture of me and she tags me because I'm in one of the pictures. It automatically shows up on my Facebook page. So that's kind of scary to some people. and I've actually had people say, you know, please don't tag me, you know, because I don't want people to see that picture. I don't want people to be able to find that picture. You know, so that's something that's become very popular. When you hear that word tagging, it just means you're assigning a description to a picture or to a web page or to a blog or to anything really. And it's kind of the way that the internet is being, how we're defining the internet and how content is categorized. How it said, you know, we're organizing the internet. It all happens through tagging pretty much nowadays. Let's go to MySpace, which is still in this region kind of the more popular one. Here I am thinking again. Oh, I have a new comment on my MySpace, so let's see what, hopefully it's something good.
Yes, you better keep it clean, Shawn, if you're going to be doing this class.
Now, I should have said this up front, but you know, on MySpace, especially MySpace, there is some advertising, just like when you're watching TV, or going to the movies, you know, advertising is everywhere. But especially MySpace is heavy on advertising. You can see the ad that's up at the top of this screen here, and it's very, and again, that's why a lot of people are migrating away from it. And a lot of times it's slow, it's congested. But it looks like my cousin Jacob Shoup commented. He says, "Thanks, Shawn. I appreciate it. That would be great. Let me know how it goes. Have a great rest of the week." Oh, that's good. Because I told him I was going to visit his MySpace page and show everybody. So this is my cousin's MySpace page. He recorded some music this summer, and you can see, I mean, he's just out of high school here. He's had 101 profile views. He's fairly new to MySpace, and he posted his music online. And you can play it here. I mean, this is stuff he wrote. You can post it online here. And yeah, he still has 3 friends. Me, Deanna, and Tom, the creator of MySpace. So, and he's got 2 comments from me down there at the bottom. So you can kind of see this is what MySpace looks like compared to Facebook. I'll show you my profile if you want to see it. On the home page of MySpace, again, it's kind of the same thing. You can see what's happening with people. My friend Celeste is feeling great in 2008. Her mood is hopeful. I graduated with Celeste from this Christ for the Nations. Alicia Hammer added 40 new photos to her wedding album. Family Force 5 updated their profile information. Very interesting. The most popular Christian band voted in 7 categories as everybody's favorite in CCM Magazine this year, Family Force 5. If you type in their website, it goes to their MySpace page. I mean, and that's happening more and more and more and more. A lot of artists aren't paying, you know, $2,500, $3,000 to make a flash content web page. They're just making a MySpace because that's where the teenagers are at. And they're not sending out newsletters through email anymore. They're doing MySpace blogs, and students subscribe to their blogs, and it goes out that way. I have several artists that I follow are doing that now. Down here at the bottom, I still have a lot of friends on MySpace, 230. A lot of those are artists and bands that I like. But you can see, you probably recognize some of these faces on here: Stuart, Ken, Andy, Mark Jeans, Joe Hammer. All these guys are online. Jankowski, Brandon, Ryan Hirsch, we know him, JJ. So a lot of my students, again, you see on here. Some of my volunteers, there's Janessa, JG, Amy was on here somewhere. And then again, I have friends with a lot of bands too. Again, that's what a lot of, if you want to get their newsletters, you have to be their friend on MySpace for a lot of them anymore. So that's just a quick look at MySpace. I want to keep on going though. You can see how easy it is to connect and build relationships and network online, and how Facebook also, I just want to go back to Facebook for just a second. Another reason it's popular, connects very well to your cell phone. I can accept or reject a friend through my cell phone. I can post a blog through my cell phone. I can almost do anything that I can do online through my cell phone, through Facebook. And again, that's what a lot of teenagers are doing. Again, a way to keep up with what friends are doing online, who's talking to who, what conversations are going on, post videos, pics, instant feedback. Okay, here's YouTube. YouTube is another social networking site, but it's based around videos. The videos that are on here, most of this is original content. You get in trouble, of course, if you post copyrighted content. And students, this is, again, very easy and simple for students. Maybe not so much for some of us. But, they take a video camera, they go out and have some fun and record something. It just has to be under 10 minutes, because that's what YouTube does. They'll only allow you 10 minutes unless you have a special director's account. And you can upload pretty much anything, as long as you stay within decency guidelines. And so they use it for entertainment. Students will go on here and watch video clips for hours. Many students that are doing this. They're on their laptop while the TV's on and going back and forth between the two and probably switching channels and doing homework at the same time. But when the commercials are on, they're watching YouTube clips. And that's what. And another great thing, this is video with the interactivity, the interaction. I post a video clip. Let me log into mine.
Are you going to show us your password?
No, I'm not. Move the camera. Everybody online is going to know my information. No. This is my personal one. And I've given you, just in case if you wanted to go back and visit all these later, I've given you all my social networking sites up on the top back-hand corner of your notes. But I went, recently on the Israel trip, this summer. I took video every day and uploaded my video every day, and basically journaled online and sent video back home through YouTube, so my family and some of you who are maybe connected could watch the videos day by day as I was touring through Israel. Very, very cool. I mean, basically I just sat in front of my laptop. I've got a camera built in right here. Sat and talked to my laptop and said, hey, today was really fun. I got to ride a camel. See you later. And people were able to comment back on my videos while I was still in Israel. I've got 81, it says, videos on here that I've posted. One that just has gone crazy lately. Again, I was telling you about Family Force 5. It's a band that's just blown up, one of my favorite bands. I'm gonna go to just some crazy. I shot this off of my digital camera, which is not really made to take video. Shot this at Lifelight, some live footage of the band at Lifelight. Let's see how many people have viewed it since then. 1,060 people since this summer have viewed this video. And 11 comments from people all over the place. Most of the comments were from people who were, hey, I was there too, talking about their band. I can control the content on this page. If somebody cusses or makes some remarks that I don't like, I can remove it. you know, and all that. And you can, and it links you to related videos. These are some other videos that I shot while I was there. Michael Tate that I shot, you know, some of the other ones, and it also shows some other Family Force 5 videos. So again, a really cool. If you're looking for video footage, I've had tons of people, Foursquare pastors, connect with me through YouTube because they went on the Israel trip too and came back home and wanted to see some, you know, video footage of other people that were there. They connected with me through YouTube just by searching for, you know, Foursquare Israel, and then all of a sudden we have all this networking going on and lots of conversation. I mean, it's for students. They love that instant. You know, you post something, you get the instant feedback from friends. You know, you'll see a lot of times on social networking sites, they'll post something and they'll say, "Comment, please." You'll see that all the time. They want, you know, they want to know what you think about what they just posted. Okay, another one that I'm not going to go to, but is pretty much the same. Flickr is the next one I have on there, I think, right? Or I didn't even put it on there. But Flickr is basically the same type of thing. You post pictures. It's a community. People leave comments. It's all about connecting. Which Flickr is just, instead of videos, it's about pictures. Instant messaging is probably instant messaging. Let me just go there for just a minute. Instant messaging in chat rooms. Chat rooms were very popular kind of at the beginning stages of the internet. Basically what a chat room is instant text communication from me to whoever, you know, where I say hello, and then Dad types back on his computer and says hi, and we have a conversation, you know, back and forth between computers. And now with the computers that have built-in cameras, which, you know, more and more of them are coming that way, you can basically have video chats with people. iChat is the Mac client. So if I click on here, I'll just show you a second here. Well, there I am. But because of that light behind me, there we go. So I can talk with you know, whoever I want to, and even if they don't have a camera or phone, you know, hi, I can check my hair. But I could have, in fact, Pastor Brent does this. He video chats with his family all the time. It's free. You know, you do it all online. You can see their face. You can hear them. You know, it beats the long distance phone bill. But this is also the place where most of the bad stuff happens. This is instant chat is probably the most dangerous of everything, because this is the predators, the ones that are out there. This is where they hang out because, you know, they get live instant interaction, and they'll have a conversation, you know, with a student. This is one that I read today. I actually just came across this just today in an email. Let me just read this story. I'll start at the top. It says, I'm certain that you have heard horror stories of young teens who have run away or were kidnapped by someone that they met online. How can this happen? You've told them not to talk to strangers online because they can't be trusted. Often young people don't take our warnings seriously. It couldn't happen to them, or could it? The following scenario is a good illustration of how predators can get to teens. The young girl liked to talk with a young man in another state that she met in a chat room. She added him to her buddy list and even IM'd, which is short for instant messaging. That's a chat client like I just showed you, just texting again back and forth through the computer. IM'd him when she was lonely. Her parents had warned her not to talk to strangers, but she figured it would be okay since he lived in another state. Besides, she wasn't giving out personal information. After tossing her books on the sofa, she decided to grab a snack and get online. She logged under her screen name, Angel213, and she checked her buddy list, her list of friends that she has on her IM client, whatever it is, and saw the name Go2123 was on, and she sent him an instant message. Okay, so she says, "Hi, I'm glad you're on. I thought someone was following me home today. It was really weird." Laughing out loud, "You watch too much TV. Why would someone be following you? Don't you live in a safe neighborhood?" She replies, "Of course I do," laughing out loud. "I guess I guess it was my imagination because I didn't see anybody when I looked around. The other guy replies, it couldn't have been an online stalker unless you gave your name out online. You haven't done that, have you? She says, of course not. I'm not stupid, you know. He replies, did you have a softball game after school today? She says, yes, and we won. He says, that's great. Who did you play? She says, we played the Hornets, laughing out loud. The uniforms are great. They look like bees, laughing out loud. He says, what's your team called? She says, we're the Canton Cats. We have tiger paws on our uniforms. They're really cool. He says, did you pitch? She says, no, I play second base. I gotta go. My homework has to be done before my parents get home. I don't want them to be mad at me. Bye. He says, catch you later. Bye. Meanwhile, this guy, he goes and finds her profile. And when it came up, he highlighted and printed out, and he took out a pen and paper, and he begins to write down what he knew about her so far. Her name, her first name. It's on her profile. Even if it's limited, usually this information is on there. Shannon, birthday, it's on there, January 3rd, 1985, age 13, state where she lives, North Carolina. Now it's all listed in her private profile. You know, it's a restricted profile. As were her hobbies, softball, chorus, skating, and going to the mall. Besides this information, he knew she lived in Canton because she just told him. He knew she stayed by herself until 6:30 p.m. every afternoon until her parents came home from work. He knew she played softball on Thursday afternoons on the school team, and the team's name was the Canton Cats. Her favorite number was 7, printed on her jersey. And he knew she was in the 8th grade in the Canton Junior High School. She had told him all of this in the conversation that they just had online, so he had enough information to find her now. I mean, just through you know, conversations like that, you know, instant message is, again, a place where you don't want teenagers to be talking with people that they don't know. Even if they try to introduce themselves. You don't talk to people on instant message unless you know them in the real world. Just don't. Because that's the most dangerous. Chat rooms, instant messaging, that's dangerous. Okay? Okay, very quickly. Blogging. This is my new favorite thing. I just found out I'm really popular this week. I had no clue. But this is my blog that I created. I don't even know how many months ago. Not too many months ago. Let me look. Goes back to May. Started in May, and maybe 100 posts since then. Basically, a blog. A blog is short for weblog. And it's for logging and journaling online. And a weblog is like a journal that contains your most recent articles, usually at the top. So my latest blog that I just did, January 15th, what is today? So that was yesterday, is right there at the top. It's a YouTube video that I posted, that I liked, that I wanted to share with everybody. And you keep on going down, you'll see I have the story of Deanna's tonsillectomy. Deanna had surgery on Monday, so I posted that story on there and have pictures. I have if you keep on going down, I have the video promotion that we used for Valapalooza on Sunday, if you wanted to see the guy dancing crazy again. You know, I have all this stuff and this is the stuff where, you know, it's, you know, whatever I come across that's cool and I want to share, or if I want to communicate something to you know, a wide audience, this is where I do it. You know, hey, the Pirates movie's in the theaters, you know, you gotta go see it. Lots of crazy, just fun things. This is what I just found out this week. I couldn't believe it. I have between 30 and 40 unique visitors viewing this blog every single day. And my best day was actually last week. I had 319 different people view it on just one day, reading my blog that, you know, I started back in May. That's crazy to me. And a lot of it is through networking. When I post a blog that I got from a friend, you'll see a lot of times at the end of a blog, HT and then the name of somebody. That's a hat tip. It's short for hat tip. That's a hat tip to my friend, you know, Tim. And there's connectivity there. And then people will go and check out his website. Well, he's got, you know, that was a cool video. I want to see more of what he's got. And then it draws traffic back and forth. And so I've got, you can subscribe via email to the blog post. Every time I post a blog, you can get it in your email. But I also share a lot of this stuff through our weekly email newsletter too. But most teens, there's a lot of teenagers that are blogging, believe it or not. So you're thinking, what? You know, I've never heard the word before. But most of the teens that are online and have a profile, if they have a profile, they're blogging. That just means, again, they're sharing. It used to be a journal would be something you keep, you know, under your bed with a lock and key on it. But now it's all about letting everybody know, spilling it out. And then saying, comment please. It's kind of crazy. It's a little bit different. Again, when I sign on to my MySpace, I'm subscribed to every single teenager that I know that's in our youth ministry because it's a great place. A lot of teenagers feel safer on there than they do in the real world. It's like I'm going to spew it all out here. And it's a great place to know what teenagers are thinking and what they're trying to communicate. And it's just, I mean, they let it fly a lot of times on their blogs. And sometimes, you know, they don't even realize it. And then you'll come back and comment and say, hey, you know, can I, you know, help you with something? And they're like, whoa, I didn't know. I realized I sounded that crazy, you know. And you know, I've actually been kicked off of students' blogs before for caring, you know, because you know, you come to a student's blog and you say, wow, that looks like you're having a really bad day, and all of a sudden they feel threatened, like you know too much, you know, I got to restrict you from access to my personal stuff. So again, whatever they post online is going to be everywhere. There's several sites that you can use to blog. Most teenagers, again, will do it through their Facebook accounts or MySpace. I do it through a site called WordPress. Again, it's all free. The Blogger is another one. That's WordPress and Blogger are more adult, used by adults. The ones that the kids use, if they're just doing it to blog, are usually Zanga or LiveJournal. Quickly, let's go back and finish up our PowerPoint notes here. I've had a parent or two ask me about this thing called World of Warcraft. And to be very honest with you, this is probably the one I'm least familiar with because I'm really, honest to God, scared of it because I've heard of so many people getting addicted to this. World of Warcraft is a video, and video games are huge. If you didn't know this, let me just give you this little statistic. When Halo 3 came out, that's a game that came out on Xbox last year. It broke the record for the most revenue created in one day for any form of entertainment, ever. When Halo 3 came out last year, $170 million in 24 hours. People were waiting in line for days to get this game and had it pre-ordered. And so World of Warcraft has over 9 million users, and up to 40% of them, statistics say, are clinically addicted. 40% of 9 million is a pretty big number. What it is, it's a kind of game called an MMORPG. And what that stands for is a massive multiplayer online role-playing game. And you create a character, and basically you can see these little guys walking around here. If I created a character, let's say I'm that guy right there in the middle, that would be me, and I'd walk around in this real virtual world, this virtual real world, how do you say that? This virtual world that very much feels like a reality once you've been there. And you get into this virtual online world with a lot of other people, and you can have conversations with them. And what you do, you talk, you interact with them, you make friends just like you would in the real world. You join up and you create teams with these people, and you go on missions together to get the bad guys, you know, and do missions together, conquer things, and loot stuff. You can create your own armor, develop your characters to look exactly the way you want to, and the more you're in it, the more, you know, that person kind of becomes you. And I will say that I've done like kid versions of this. What was it called? There was a Disney...
Penguin one?
Huh?
Is it the penguin one?
Yeah, there's that one. I don't remember what that one's called. But there's literally sites like this that are geared towards kids in children's church. And they're huge. I mean, they're big. They're a big deal. And but they're the one that I was on. I can't remember what it's called, Toonland or something like that, through Disney. And it was just, you know, throwing pies at each other, just cartoon characters, Mickey and Goofy, and I had to get off of it because I was spending too much time there. And you're creating friends, and you're like, yeah, let's, you know, pie the world, you know. It's very, very, very much addicting. Why is it addicting? Because it's an escape from ordinary life, which is what, you know, a lot of students, if they're dealing with tough stuff, and a lot of our students are, it's an escape. And a lot of what I've read is that it can actually be a healthy place because it's cool and socially acceptable for people of all ages to hang out online together and interact with each other. But again, it's a very fine line between being healthy and just going way overboard. And again, 40% of the players that are signing on find themselves spending way too much time. I hear of people losing jobs, forgetting about college. I've got to be there online with my team tonight to do this mission, you know, and that's why I stayed away from it. I haven't even touched it. I don't have a lot of personal interaction with that one, but it's huge. Twitter, I just wanted to talk about very quickly. Twitter is a new up-and-coming site. It's growing 10 times faster than MySpace or Facebook did when either of those first came out. And basically it answers the question, what are you doing right now? It's kind of like what Ken just did, you know, when he told us the youth group's going smooth over there. It doesn't tether you to computer. Friends get texts basically, or on their cell phones or on their computer of what you're doing right now. That's all it is about. If you know, one of you, Donna, had a Twitter. They actually call it a tweet. when you update your friends and what you're doing, she'd say, I'm sitting at the teen internet class right now, and all of her friends would be updated. Now I've seen, this sounds crazy to me. I mean, why would I want to know that Michelle is baking lasagna, you know, at 7 o'clock at night? You know, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that Twitter is about. You know, what are you doing right now? And I've seen sites, you know, where people actually just update this. Okay, I'm driving in my car now. I'm on my way to work, and I mean, to me, it's just crazy. Thankfully, you know, I can say for all of you right now, I'm not jumping into this one yet. But it is growing so fast right now. Think about this in relation to like a world event like 9/11 happening, or the bridges falling in Minneapolis. This is growing so fast. Now they're saying the next time if a huge event happens like that, you're going to get tweets from people that are actually inside of the building or on the bridge and get the news stories before the news crews ever get there. And you can actually go to the website and see tweets, again is what they call them, online updates of what people are doing all around the world. And there's literally hundreds per second all around the world that you can see in 3D of what people are doing. It's kind of crazy and mind-boggling. And that's what they're saying is the biggest next thing. Now let's go back to this, because some of us are still right here. What happened to email? You know, I thought I was doing pretty good just getting email. Kids don't use email to communicate with each other anymore. Sorry. It's becoming a reality. When email was new, you remember you used to receive, some of you maybe still do, receive hundreds of forwards from everyone all the time, and we really didn't know how to use email. We're just passing on forwards, and your email was just, you know. Well, now we've pretty much, as a culture, largely we've got email figured out, and we've got that down. Yay. You know, we're there. Most people are comfortable with email now. And you know, we can send an email, we can get an email, and a lot of us, we wouldn't know what to do without it. Web 2.0 and social networking is going to be the new email. Let me just give you that right now. In fact, it already is. If you're not there, it already is. And our students are kind of in that stage, you know, right now where they're really discovering this, and they're making a lot of mistakes and kind of doing the same thing that we did with email. But experts are predicting that the social networking will become commonplace as email is right now in just 2 or 3 years, and we won't know what to do without it. It'll be just like, you know, what did we do without email? So this is from a youth ministry expert. His name is Marco, For teenagers and young 20-somethings, email is a dinosaur. It's an occasionally necessary dinosaur from when they need to contact the dinosaurs. Texting primarily, as well as social networking sites like MySpace and Facebook, have shoved email off the map. Everyone sends emails because you have to email your teacher or your instructor, and you have to email your grandma. That's the way the world works. But he added, it's sort of an old fogey way of communicating. Texting and social networking sites are immediate. You place a comment, most of the time they're already on the site, they'll get an update on their cell phone. It's immediate. Email is still a response factor, and texting is now, wherever and whenever. I noticed this a few years ago in England when texting was already extremely normal and popular there, but still gaining ahead of steam in the US. And I asked a few teenagers and youth workers about it, and they all told me that texting was the only way kids communicated. Well, and actual phone calls, of course. And the reasons were clear. Email is too slow, and email, doesn't really fit the culture of immediacy, since it requires sitting at a computer that's hooked up to the internet, of course, unless they have an iPhone and they're really cool, but most students can't afford one of those. So, the way students communicate, and we're almost done, and then if you have any questions, we'll go there. Short messaging services, SMS, or text messaging. That's sending a text over your cell phone. If you hear that term SMS or text messaging, that's what they're referring to. Short messaging services, which again a lot of times are connected with these social networking sites. Instant messaging, which is talking back and forth through the computer, either through the camera phone or typing, very popular. Or messaging or comments on social networking sites, like the one that Ken just left on my Facebook that you saw a while ago. That's the way students are communicating. Now let me just leave you with some tips for home. Strategically, a lot of these are common sense, but some of us need some common sense. Strategically position the computer at home. Put it in a place where you're going to be. Please do not put it, in your student's room. Put it in a place where you know that there's going to be high traffic, where people are going to be, where they can be safe and have some accountability. That's the idea when I'm talking about there. Strategically position the computer at home. Communicate with your team. Earn their trust. Explain yourself. Don't be afraid to ask questions. They might know more than you. Ask questions. Communicate with them. They'll probably be glad to share their knowledge. Some of them may not be glad I'm sharing my knowledge, but okay. Third one. Learn from your kids, especially when they're younger, because they'll probably be more open to it. Again, I said this one earlier. Search Google. Search for their names, their nicknames, and their email address, and see what's coming up, because you might be surprised. Check the browser history. This used to be, a pretty surefire way of catching students in their tracks, but most of them, I would say,
they delete the history.
Yeah, they delete it. So maybe not so much anymore, because most of them will even just set their browser to not even remember. Most of them are smart enough to do that. Shoulder surfing. Check them out, what they're doing while they're doing it. Hopefully you have a good enough relationship with them where you can do that. Discuss with them what they're surfing while they're surfing. Don't do it intrusively, but do it as a friend, who's there along with them for the experience. Be there with them for the ride. Join your kids, kind of the same thing. Make your own profile on Facebook, like the cartoon at the beginning. And I really love watching the cooks do this online. Kathy Cook and her kids, which a lot of them are off in college, they have some great communication going on Facebook, and it makes me go, oh, every once in a while, that's cute, and they have some really, great, and again, it's all free. And again, it's all online and it's all shared with everybody. So make your own profile, use MySpace, get an account, interact with them where they're at, send text messages, ask them to show you their profiles, ask them for the guided tour of their own place. And then this last one, monitoring software. Again, this is kind of like the internet, deleting the internet history. monitoring software can be a good thing. I use monitoring software. If you want to know what I use CyberSitter at home. You can get it online at cybersitter.com. But they're not perfect. And you know, again, probably the best thing to do is just be there around. I have it turned on when my kids are online because I hope that'll, you know, it gives them at least another level of protection. But no monitoring software is perfect. There's other Covenant Eyes is another one that a lot of Christians use, because it's not a software that'll keep a student from going to a site, but it'll send an email of all the sites they visited to your email account. It's a way of accountability, and most of them you know, have a $30, $40 price tag. There's some free ones online there, but monitoring software, it's another level of protection and safety. So that's all I have as far as my notes. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I will gladly field them right now. And if you have to go, or if you have kids in children's ministry or youth group, I told the youth workers to stay around till 9 o'clock if they want to hang around over there. But if you have kids in youth ministry or kids church or the nursery, please, they probably need to be picked up pretty soon.